and both Victor and Jin are somewhat immobile, so prompting BLG to ditch the tank route and actually going to go for the likes of the Kennen. If Kennen can get into the backline, it's going to be very, very tough for any of these RNG members to survive. They don't have a lot of HP bars throughout their entire team. And overall, I do like the composition from BLG a little bit more. I think BLG has a much more clearly identified team strategy, while RNG is leaning a little bit more towards pick and a little bit more towards skirmish and potentially for
getting themselves ready to go on top of this. It depends on how Xiaohu and Cryan, I feel, make these kind of solo lanes work for them, because if the Victor and the Akali can get those priorities, maybe get a kill or two on top of them, then it becomes a very different game coming into those mid-game team fights.
Yeah, it definitely is the case, and this is going to be a good testament to how well Xiao can adapt to the top lane. Top lane is a very different environment from the mid lane. I think mainly cooldown management works drastically different, and lane management also is very different. A lot of these champions in the top lane, they don't die in one rotation. So it's less about poking, it's a lot more about managing your rotations and knowing everyone's cooldowns, and that typically has been a huge barrier for mid lanes going top. You know, CLX actually had that phase because Mole was the mid laner for V5. CLX had to play top lane, and he did horribly. Maple was kind of the same case. He was a good mid laner. He goes top, and it's kind of tragic. So now it's Xiaohu's time to prove that he can break the trend.
That's absolutely true, and I think the big kind of like differentiator, if you will, between a mid lane and a top lane is like, yes, they're both solo lanes, but the top lane is so much longer than you think it is in comparison to the mid lane. And not only that, but the mid lane has so many more options for you to be able to kind of approach it from, escape out to. There's so many ways you can move around in the mid lane that when you try and, you know, convert that to a top lane carry, it just doesn't equal the same result. It's so much harder. You can't just go, oh, I see the jungler coming in from the bot side, I'm going to path upwards, because the upwards is a dead end. You don't have an upwards to go to. You only have to go back, so your options are a lot more limited. But as you said, Xiaohu, see if he can be the trend breaker rather than the trend setter of mid laners in top side, as Cryan has to try and make it worth it for him to be in that mid lane. It's kind of almost like a Perks Cap situation in G2, where it's like, you know, is Caps or Perks better in mid lane? It's like, well, Caps is just better, but Perks is still a fantastic mid laner, so it's kind of a weird trade-off.
It definitely is, and Xiaohu is probably, in talent-wise, the best player on this roster, so that's even more of a head-scratcher why you're forcing your best player to go to another lane. And that's why a lot of people are looking at this RNG roster and seeing it as something that is quite transitional, probably experimental, and likely to change in the summer split.
Yeah, as I said, it's kind of a roster of pieces that you're kind of hoping to see if it will stick together or not. A lot of people, I would say, are leaning towards the or not as it kind of comes in towards that, you know, kind of 2021 spring and summer splits. But we'll have to wait and see. Demacia Cup is a very different beast. Best of ones. You only get 4 games in the group stages. Anything can happen. Now, RNG definitely going to be feeling a little bit of hurt in this top side. Xiaohu is against the Kennen. We talked about this in the Aurelia matchup in the last game. Kennen will just have, well, it should have a natural kind of a advantage with having the range and also having the you know, ability of stuns and everything. So overall, Xiaohu's not going to have the greatest of times just yet, but it's about what these junglers are able to do in these early levels if they can make these lanes work for them.
Yep, I would like to point out in terms of the jungle pathing, we're seeing Wave going directly for the bot lane. RNG already has their Wave set up in quite a comfortable position where it is closer to their tower. They're going to have an easier angle of attack, and Olaf is going the other side. So I think what we have to look for in the next minute really is if Wei is going to try and get that gank in, and if RNG have predicted correctly the ward that Xingmo has placed down. We see already Ming going out, and he did go for a sweeper start. This is something that RNG is very, very well known for, that their supports love to start sweeper, and they love to go for those early ganks onto their bot side. However, it does seem like BLG's bot lane has read this playbook. They've definitely seen how RNG has done, and they're going to back away scot-free.
Yep, no real reason to be pushing in. As you can see, both junglers have completely cleared every single neutral jungle camp that there is on the map, so they're going to be waiting for those to spawn. And this is the power and why we see the priority being put onto people like Ekram, Olaf, Graves, Kindred as well, is because they can just burn through that jungle so quickly. And obviously it was a couple of patches ago now at this stage, but the changes they brought in, being able to kind of see those jungle camps spawn so much quicker, means there's not really that much of an emphasis on ganking anymore. It is very much kind of take your opportunities when you can, but if you don't see them, there's no need to overforce it.
I would say that junglers in general, the idea is you want to rush mythics as soon as possible, and ganking is still a very valid part of it. There's still very strong ganking junglers in the meta, like in the likes of Olaf, but farming in comparison is probably the most important one. Like, the only meta jungler right now that isn't a great farmer is probably Kha'Zix, and all the rest of them are insta-clear junglers that can almost go all the way around to scuttle without even dropping much HP whatsoever.
Yeah, completely agree. And overall now, BLG just a little too quick. As you can see, best 16 there, a little too quick with his undertow, trying to wait for those camps. And power farm, that is the name of the game for these two junglers right now, as they just kind of avoid each other on opposite sides. They're almost mirroring each other's movements. It's like looking at yourself and just seeing you on the other side of the map. And honestly, this has kind of been a much quieter start than the rest of the two games we've had today, and it's almost like a breath of fresh air to kind of see that, you know, the LPL teams can actually play a more conserved, slower style.
I think the reason is both of these team compositions are looking more towards the late game. RNG, on their side, they're probably looking at this as a 1-3-1 game where they can have Victor and Nikali in one of the side lanes, and Jhin trying to hunt people down in the mid while staying relatively safe. And for BLG's side, you know, we've talked about no one really early picks this Aphelios. It's not how the meta draft works. So they must be looking at this game with special emphasis toward Abel's ability to carry in the late game, and they're looking for maybe the late game team fight. So both of these teams are going to be relatively slow. They're going to try and snowball Drakes and force each other into the team fight setups that they prefer.
Yeah, and then talking about snowballing Drakes, it's going to be BLG with that first rotation. They've got pressure in bot, they've got pressure in mid. No real contest coming out here from the side of RNG, and they're a minute and a half too early to try and trade that for a Rift Herald. So overall, it is an advantage going over to the side of BLG. However, I just had a quick look at the CS discrepancies.
Yeah.
Actually, a 15 CS. I just immediately saw it, caught my eye. 15 CS ahead for Xiaohu, and you praised him so very adamantly of how good this guy is, and I've been a massive fan of this guy for years. He has kind of showing himself to be like, look, this is my Akali pick. I know what I'm doing.
Is RNG going to become a topside
Don't you dare drink it. Don't you jinx it. Don't you say a word. I won't accept it, okay? I will not accept it until it happens, but at the moment, it's positive, and that's all that matters.
That's definitely the case. We're just making this joke because there's been so many times in the past where RNG has actually got themselves a top laner who can split push, and they're like, nope, you're teleporting the instant something happens bot lane. You're going to play Sion and Ornn only, and that's it.
It feels so bad when you're looking at some of the best, the genuinely great top laners that RNG have had in the past, and it just makes you feel a little sad about it, as we can see Abel just using those shurikens, able to kind of push himself forward. Very, very nicely done. This is the kind of the pushing prowess and power that you get when you have an Aphelios in that early game, as he stops the Jhin from getting himself back, so he has to stay. It's an unfavorable back, and right now, feel like Demon knows something's up, knows that someone's kind of around. They also have best 16 around here, so they have full knowledge of where the enemy jungler is from the side of BLG, and RNG just trying to maybe set themselves up for maybe a bit of a steal. Oh,
that was dirty.
That was unnecessary, but the collateral damage down now. And this is kind of it. They're just both teams just kind of like trading a little bit, trading pressures on each side of the map.
Yeah, there really isn't much that's happening right here. RNG, I think, has read BLG's draft in that they want to focus on the bottom side with ganks from Olaf. So what they have done in response is they've been playing the wave very close to their own tower and kind of trading sides by placing all this vision into BLG's jungle. So, it's a perfect avoidance of each other, and RNG so far has been coming out up ahead a little bit in terms of the neutral objectives.
And Cryan, though, not really having the priority that he really needed to have. As I said, that Slicing Maelstrom not able to catch out Wei. That's a big cooldown down. Perfect execution back in onto the Shroud. And now, ooh, Demon! That was unfortunate. They do fast, unfortunately, a lot of flashes, and all of a sudden, this is a 5v5. Here comes the ult from the Jhin as they try and just go for this one there. They do miss out. There's a flash in. They're trying to get as much damage down. The Chaos Storm is in. The Shockwave lands. Finally, at 9 minutes into the game, we get ourselves a first blood. But the game's not over. The flashes are still being burned. All these summoners pent up, not being used previously in this game, have now all been burned. Only Gala is the only one to survive with his flash intact. And that is, and Xiaohu. And that is a eventually first blood to BLG, but it will be the Rift Herald going over to RNG.
Every single member on the map rotated towards this Herald fight. BLG obviously got there first. They had the Kennen in, Demon going in, and burning the flash from Wei, and also the ultimate from Xiaohu. So when Ming actually tried to pull off the collapse, there really wasn't anyone else on the other side to kind of close that gap in, and he kind of gives away his life. But at the end of the day, RNG still get the Herald. I would say probably a small win on RNG's side, depending how much value they get out of this one. Let's go and watch the fight again. Demon actually is able to walk away with a sliver of health. Yeah, that one was kind of weird, and you can even see the Assassin's Mark in the air for Xiaohu, but not able to find auto attack. And then Ming actually going a little bit too close into the fight, has the flash to go in. There's no one waiting on the other side to actually close that trap down. And, you know, actually BLG over-chased a little bit on the end side of that, give up a lot of HP. So a bit of a messy fight that I felt BLG could definitely have gotten more out of.
BLG definitely could have gotten more out of. RNG not really pulling the trigger as they wanted to as such. And you can see now that all the summoners are down, it's definitely gone back to the more composed and slow style that we've seen towards the first 10 minutes of this game, and I don't think that's going to change. And BLG, they've got themselves a 600 gold lead. It's nothing to write home about.
So in this type of game where RNG is trying to play a 1-3-1, most of the time the side lane towers are actually a little bit more important. So what I expect to happen here is for Wei to find an opportunity into the top side, maybe get this Akali going. And once Akali is out of lane, she actually can have a lot of impact on this map. Her burst combo is very, very high. And we can see Xiaohu already doing that, going towards the mid lane, trying to find a surprise kill, maybe onto this Orianna, sniper off before the Drake fight becomes an issue.
Yeah, the TP isn't quite up for Xiaohu, so he does need to join his team very, very quickly. Demon, however, is very much in the position of, I have got my TP, I can keep pushing this up, I've got the pressure. It does, however, look like RNG might try and just sneak this one away. The teleport has been used, the box has been put down, the hook lands, as there is the ultimate there from Ming. He no longer has his ultimate there available for him, as we can see Demon trying to find himself a little bit of an angle there for the Slicing Maelstrom, but they will not be able to land anything else. Now, rest of RNG has backed away. BLG still grouped up around this dragon, and it is fully reset, but it looks like RNG just going to give it up.
I don't think RNG can really give it up at this point. Like, they've sunk so much into this Drake. Xiaohu's missed 2 waves top lane already. I actually think that they have to go for this. Like, they're losing too much.
Slicing Maelstrom is down, and they delete Demon. The dragon does go over to the side of BLG, but the fight is next coming in. The Shockwave only lands on the 1. 3 people have gone down. 4, and they've only got themselves the Orianna left. CLX, the only one left alive. Yes, they get themselves the second Drake, but at what cost, Clement?
Oh, that would cost way too much. Great play from Xiaohu right there. They instantly snipe out the Kennen that was trying to protect the retreat route on the ramp, and a beautiful, perfect execution that gets him straight into the backline and helps Gala finish off those targets. Very, very well played for the side on RNG. You know, typically it's super difficult to force yourself up that ramp, but Xiaohu did that expertly.
Very, very nicely done. You can see they just knew that the plan from BLG was to get Demon in with the Slicing Maelstrom, and they completely deny it. There was absolutely no space for them to come in, and as you said, just great moves from Xiaohu.
Yeah, I knew that they had to go for this one. They were losing too much on the top side, and they picked their moments perfectly well. Demon steps up a little bit too far forward, trying to zone, doesn't have Zhonya's, instantly goes down. And watch this as Xiaohu follows his shuriken flip into the backline and gets his second tick of the ultimate down on 3 members of BLG. So very well played. Good teamfight mechanics from Xiaohu.
Xiaohu's not picking up the kills, but he's definitely doing very, very well in this Akali pick, and that could be the success that RNG need. They just basically need to put the mid laner in top lane and give him mid lane champions, and it's totally fine. So people seeing him on things like, I wouldn't be surprised to see him later in the tournament on things like the Akali, of course, which we're seeing now, the Rumble, anything like that. Renekton, I'm sure he has plenty of practice on as well. So these are things that he can definitely play, and I'm curious to see how that kind of translates for RNG later on in this tournament.
I think you're being too optimistic, okay? The RNG hasn't got to him yet. You know, once the coach actually sits down with Xiaohu, it's going to be Sion from here on out. That's all he's going to play.
Please,
and
please,
to be fair,
RNG.
he actually plays that mid lane already, so that's one of the few champions he does.
I just want to see them do well. I've seen so many great RNG top laners just go underutilized, and it makes me sad, man. It just makes me so
insane.
sad.
RNG isn't a playoff team. It feels so weird looking at a playoff bracket and not seeing RNG there. It's like,
yeah,
well, what even happened? Do I even know the LPL anymore?
Yeah, absolutely. And like you look at it, and I think Danny made a point about this in the pregame, is that, you know, they had an abysmally average season both in spring and summer, 8-8, 8-8, and that's just not what you expect from a team of the caliber of the prestige of RNG. So this is the kind of team that we really do want to see. We expect to see at minimum in the quarterfinals of a Demacia Cup, but even then they should be probably hitting for semis. It just hasn't really happened in the last year or so.
Yeah, and they definitely have to show up for that. RNG, the size of their organization, does not allow them failure. They are always marked in the eyes of the community. If they're not doing well, something is astray. So, you know, I wish the best to them as well, but, you know, coming back into this game, we are seeing RNG just pick up that bottom lane tower after that big team fight. They're going to free up their bot lane, and they're heading straight up for this Herald. The ball's in BLG's court as to whether they want to answer this or not.
It looks like it's going to be a straight trade. Bot lane turret does go down, as we can see their way on top of this Rift Herald. So again, like we talked about in the previous games, it's kind of turret damage now for potential turret damage later. If you can get a good rotation off of that, it can definitely work out for you. As we can see, Demon definitely knows something's up and just wants to back himself away. But these towers are being absolutely shredded. The combo of the guns right now for Abel means that he is able to just melt these HP bars off these turrets and get himself these more advantages. And there's nothing Xiaohu can really do.
Yeah, so a lot of viewers might be saying that this is just a straight-up garbage trade coming in from RNG. Like, why would you give up 2 towers for 1 tower and 1 Herald? But the way RNG wants to play the map, because they have a 1-3-1 composition, is they likely favor these long lanes. If you look at this bot lane right now, who is going to go down there and match? And furthermore, if Xiaohu decides to freeze on this lane, it's going to be very difficult for BLG to actually get this economy back. So, you know, a lot of times the objectives you take is really dependent on the composition and the style of map play that you want to have.
It's, as you say, it's all about the kind of style of map play and the tempo that you're able to create based on the lane states. And that's something that, you know, RNG are clearly looking into. They want, as you said, these very, very long lanes. Who are you going to get to go against Xiaohu, against potentially Cryan? They both have TPs available to them very, very shortly as the dragon is about to spawn. So overall, RNG just looking to try and maybe push for those 1-3-1s. There's the hook down. Might have to see, yep, there's main forced to use the Unbreakable Will, which will mean that's a big, big cooldown for this potential fight. Xiaohu has got TP and he's walking towards that top side. I think RNG might look to just maybe give this one up. It's kind of hard to say. Maybe they're just looking to try and create pressure.
I love the mind games from Xingmo right there. He's just holding on, looking like he's about to go in, but there was no way in hell BLG was actually going to take that hook. So they basically get Ming's ultimate for free right there, and now they just have to be careful of potential Xiaohu flank positions, and they can go in.
Yeah, they can go in, but again, the Shurikens go in. Flash going to knock them up. They're going to try and see if they can take down CLX. Doesn't go down just yet, but there's a lot of ultimates have been burned. There is the curtain call coming in, and a flash in with a Sliceling Maelstrom means there is no jungler for RNG. This should be a pretty easy cleanup, but Shinmo drops the box and keeps himself alive. They are just chasing down on top of Demon, though, and he will just about be able to get himself to the tower, but he will not be able to survive. Thresh dies on the bot side as well. Ends up being a 3-for-1 trade in favor of RNG. Olaf had to get himself way back into enemy territory. Mid lane turret goes down. The dragon is still up. The waves are all in terrible positions. RNG, they're coming up trumps.
Yeah, that was a terrible team fight incoming from BLG. I didn't really catch it on screen, but somehow the Victor was able to snipe out Abel before Abel was even able to do his flash or his heal. So that was definitely very unexpected. Great find there by Crying to find that snipe, and with Abel dead, there's nothing much BLG can do.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Clement. It's going to be very difficult to say Abel and then not say the actual word Abel when we're trying to talk about him. But look at this team fight. This looks like a great flank from the Kennen, and it really does look like BLG kind of had it, but like you said, Abel just gets caught.
Yeah, I have to fault CLX here, not getting his ball down in time. So he actually went up towards the brush to place the ball and had to burn a lot of his summoners just to get out. And let's see how Abel actually died here. Wait a minute, Abel's already
dead. Abel is dead, my friend. He died. He just got deleted by Crying's Chaos Storm, and just nothing else he could really do about it.
That was a bit unexpected.
It was pretty instantaneous. I won't lie. It was pretty kind of out of the blue. But now the dragon stacking that you mentioned earlier in the game, and the kind of getting that, how important that is for both these sides. It's been broken now for BLG. They're now looking at a Jhin, a Victor, a lot of AOE damage that can kind of scale into this late game. That's a very, very scary proposition if you're looking down the barrel of an RNG gun.
Yeah, it's always pretty damn scary when the 1-3-1 composition also beats you at 5v5s. That was honestly just an out execution from the side of RNG. Very well done on their part. The fork before the Drake was perfect, and just the cleanup in the backline, going through a Kennen and an Ori. I'll just put it this way: that was not supposed to happen. Okay.
No. Definitely a little bit of a faux pas on the side of BLG, but again, props to RNG. They're playing this comp a little bit more difficult to kind of execute on, but they're executing it on perfectly. And you're looking at 2 items pretty much finished across the board now very, very shortly for the side of RNG. They're hitting very, very big spikes. And unfortunately for the side of BLG, the Olaf, the Aphelios, the Olaf's falling off, and the Aphelios is a very long way away from being that kind of, 200 years champion that, Hysterics love so much.
Yeah, this Aphelios pick hasn't really been working out, and I think the circumstances have all come down to the team fights. Basically, lost his tower very early, is forced to wait for the waves to actually farm up. And when you're picking first pick Aphelios and this is the result, it's definitely pretty sad. And considering that he was actually winning his lane alone, definitely game plan gone awry for BLG.
For RNG, definitely a good look for them so far this game, but I need to see a little bit more. They are definitely having a good time. It is only a 3,500 gold lead, so it's definitely nothing too huge that BLG cannot come back from. And one good shockwave, one good slicing maelstrom could be literally a difference maker in any of these team fights. Like you said, BLG are the 5v5 boys. They are the ones that will have the advantage the longer this game goes on. In a vacuum with 6 items, they are the ones that should be winning every single 5v5.
I will have to say, though, Olaf is a champion that has a spectacular drop-off, and I wouldn't wholly put the scaling aspect on BLG's side of the map. I think, Aphelios is definitely someone that they're counting on in the late game, but overall, these camps, even in the late game, I think are pretty even match and even slightly favored in RNG's in RNG's terms when it comes to the scaling aspect. So I think BLG still need to play these team fights pretty aggressively. Even though they're behind on map control, they still have to push it up and try to get those fights earlier rather than just sitting back and waiting for everything to come to them.
Yeah, as I say, inaction in itself is a action, and that will just lead you to a very, very bad situation overall. But Gala just finishing up a lot of his items here. He's got the Gale Force, got the Collector, building up towards another Zeal item, so he is sitting pretty on this Jhin. However, you have got the Bloodthirster and the Kraken Slayer on top of the Aphelios, so he is getting there, and that Overshield is starting to build up very, very nicely for him. So, as you said, there are opportunities for BLG, but they need to find them. They can't sit back and wait for things to happen.
Definitely is the case right here, and right now we're seeing RNG setting up for this next Drake. 30 seconds on the clock. They've got full vision, Ming in her great place, and Xiaohu looks like he's about to run into Demon, so BLG need to find creative ways to actually get into this river.
See BLG just trying to maybe use the Aphelios to try and clear these waves. He's very, very strong right now. has got himself plenty of ways of getting out, but with the dragon spawning in just a few seconds, they've kind of moved themselves towards the Baron, almost tempting RNG to say, look, go for the dragon. We'll go for the Baron, because again, BLG have got the damage to be able to burn this one down, so it is definitely in the realm of possibility that they could definitely go for it.
I like the BLG game plan here. They're basically baiting towards the Baron and saying that, hey, RNG, we know that you've already set up the Drake, but we're going to force you to come into my world, come into my territory, and go towards its Baron. I'm not so sure about rushing it down, though. This is a bit much.
The Graves isn't around, so Wei is a good bit away. They have got Kennen just kind of playing bodyguard up the backside. The box goes down, and they have got Xiaohu jumping in straight away. The Baron down to about 4,000 HP. They need to go and try and finish it right now. 3,000 HP, 2,000 HP. He goes in. It's going to be secured by BLG. The Slicing Maelstrom stops Crying from getting anywhere into this team fight. Wei is also forced to flash away. The Jhin goes down, and BLG find themselves a kill, a Baron, and they've got RNG running for the hills. Fantastic move from BLG.
Baited and outsmarted. That's all I can say right here. BLG, they don't have any vision close to that Drake. They have zero vision close to that Drake. And somehow they were able to read that the Graves wasn't there, start the Baron, rush it, and then complete the miracle play to get themselves very far ahead into this game. And they're also on Drake point. They're on Dragon Soul.
They are on Dragon Soul. They've equaled out the gold pretty much. They've got themselves a nice little bit of a buffer. Honestly, just a great call from BLG, calling the bluff of RNG.
Yeah, I really want to see. They don't have vision on the Graves. That was prediction.
Yeah, they just assumed he would be greedy.
Blue trinket on it, but no, they didn't actually have vision in the Dragon Pit.
Demon just sneaking in the queue there, able to get himself a nice little kill, a nice shutdown kill as well at that onto Gala. And now summoners are down. Crying again, I honestly I have to commend BLG so much for that, because they just made a call. They said, look, they're guaranteed this Wei is going to try and greed for this dragon. We're a 4v5. We can do this. And it worked out.
That was such a crazy play, because you're funneling yourself into the Baron pit against a ton of AoE. You know, Crying, the Chaos Storm is going to come down. It's very easy to lock you up in that position, but somehow they were able to beat back the collapse from RNG, and also just that blind predict on Graves. I just can't get over how crazy of a successful play that was. You go back 2 minutes, BLG weren't even able to reach River, and somehow they pulled this play out of nowhere. Wow.
Oh, Shockwave does land on the Gala, who's forced to use the Gale Force to get himself away. There's the curtain call, and Aphelios is deleted. He uses the reverse Uno card straight away, but then here comes Demon and says, no, you. Gets himself a double kill. Crying should be able to pick that one up. It will be 2 for 2 overall. RNG not going down without a fight. But just before that, I wanted to say, like you said, the BLG call, how kind of ballsy it was. That's exactly what you wanted to see, though, from BLG. You said it. They can't sit down and wait for something to happen. They have to make it themselves. They have to be proactive, and they were rewarded for it. Now, they lose 2 Baron buffs, unfortunately for them, but they should be able to still pick up maybe 1 or 2 towers in the meantime, because they still have a little bit left in it.
Yep, they should be able to find at least 1, I think, but not in this situation. So it was a really good comeback by RNG. Great find there. Once again, Abel just caught out of nowhere and instantly deleted. I believe the fight was started by Ming right there, just getting the WQ knock-up and everyone piling in. However, on the flip side, we do see kind of the team fight issues. Oh, goodbye, Xiaohu. Nothing much to see there. Instantly over. We do see some of the team fight issues with, you know, Graves, Jhin, and Victor against the likes of Kennen. Without your summoners, he's just going to do so much damage. He's already tearing up the backline.
That's kind of what we talked about in pregame when we looked at these 2 compositions, is that when you're without your flashes, the Jhin, the Victor, they don't really have ways of getting out, which means they have to play even more defensively because they just can't really deal with any kind of crowd control. And Crying's having a very good game, 4-0-4 on this Victor, definitely looking very, very strong with the 3.5 items if you can count, you know, the Dark Seal. He just hasn't really been able to get into these fights as often as he wants to because he has been without his flash.
Yeah, it definitely has been the case here. You know, Crying so far still doing very, very well. Now we're going to get a replay of how that all went down. It was actually started by RNG. They get a bit of a chunk onto Wei, but how is Abel actually caught out here? That is the big question throughout all of this. They find Gala pretty early on. He overextends, and then Ming just rushes out of the brush from the right side. Looks like he had some sort of a speed up. Maybe the maybe Turbo Chemtech already finished there, and they're able to snipe him out. But Demon already coming in with the Blighted Jewel, I believe, and even on that, without the finished Void Staff, was able to snipe out 2 of the immobile carries.
And that honestly saved a lot of that Baron play for the side of BLG. You know, like trading 2 for 2 rather than 2 for nothing is huge for them to be able to try and go for this. Now, they still didn't really get anything of massive value. They are now on Soul Point, but I don't know if they really have control over this river. Xiaohu has got himself snuck tugly into the top side of the red side jungle, and he's really looking to try and find someone just walking too far by themselves.
Yeah, this is a team fight that BLG are looking to hard win. You already see Demon going for the Ghost. This is pretty common in cannons when you see those team fights. It's actually pretty difficult, but you do have to manage your spell book. But he has his spells on the perfect rotation. He's going to be ghosted and with a large movement speed heading straight to the back line. Luckily for RNG, they do have most of their flashes up right here.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of damage here onto Shinmo, who has to flash himself away. Sorry, not flash himself away, get himself away. But Cryan forced to flash away, but the Slicing Maelstrom is down. Now, 2 big ultimates not available for either side.
Big win for RNG, though.
Big win, yeah.
That flash for the Slicing Maelstrom is definitely in their favor.
Yeah, and the waves are in their favor as well. Look at top lane. The bot lane's not even halfway. And this is kind of back to what you talked about very long time ago in this match. But the bot lane, long lane, no one's going to be able to go near that. Whereas the top lane pushing in means they have to react to it. BLG do lose out on that dragon. We are still yet to see a full Dragon Soul point be taken. BLG just making sure that they do not lose more than they have to.
That was kind of a wasted opportunity from BLG, honestly. They had the perfect summoners, and they were at a pretty strong point on the map. You know, I think they jumped the gun a little bit on Demon's part. Definitely going in there was not the right call, and they give up the Drake. However, they do have the Baron to fight over once more, and it's all going to be about setup. Actually, Shimo has arrived on the spot before Ming has had a chance to actually clear out that side, so they are going to have a vision advantage coming into this dance.
We'll take a moment to breathe. Well, no real action happening right now, and I'm honestly quite surprised and you know, a little bit impressed, I suppose. I won't say, you know, too impressed, just like a little bit kind of, you know, pleasantly surprised, I suppose, by RNG. They don't look as terrible as I thought they were going to look. They've definitely kept their own here. However, BLG, they've definitely left the door open for a lot of different things, and we talked about this before. This is BLG's B team. This is their LDL team that's kind of coming into this, not really their 100% full roster coming into the LPL. So you got to take wins with losses, but overall, RNG not looking the worst as I thought they were going to be.
This is pretty impressive if BLG managed to top the group with their B team. That would be hilarious, but some fighting going on already.
Yeah, they do get the Ragnarok out. That's a big cooldown down. They didn't actually have to use any at all from the side of RNG, so they've got themselves a an ultimate advantage. As Xiaohu now making himself a bit of a nuisance, seeing if he can just get someone walking too close to the sun, and you can just bat them straight away. The Baron is being pinged as RNG start to make their way towards it. The vision is definitely still in favor of BLG. Hook there just to proc the Baron, keep everybody away from it. And again, RNG not quite able to make a flash burned as well by Best 16. So Ming really making this Alistar do work for this team.
Yeah, I love what RNG are doing. They're poking in, getting vision, and a lot of times they're burning summoners and they're burning ultimates just with the Turbo Chem Tank. That thing is not on a very long cooldown whatsoever. So, you know, every time you get a trade like that, you are coming up in the green. You're basically gaining off of it. I think that's also a huge reason that we're seeing Alistar be such a high priority in the current meta, you know? You go in, and even if it fails, you have enough tankiness to just walk out. It's like nothing happened.
Yeah, it's a fantastically powerful, you know, kind of active to use in a team, and especially considering, you know, what the way supports are right now with the constant roaming you kind of have to do with the team fighting. It's also just very cost effective to keep you very tanky for a very cheap budget. So overall, like if you look at his items, he's got the Turbo Chem Tank, and then he's got a Kindle Gem, and you know, it's not really much else going for him in terms of tank stats. So overall, it's definitely paying its dividends. But the game has found itself another little lull. No real kind of pressure from either side, able to kind of gain anything from the Barons. And again, we're just going to see side waves being pushed back, and no one really kind of going for it. I didn't realize we were watching LCK, you know? It's just, didn't realize that was what this was.
To be fair, BLG and RNG are kind of the slower teams in the
They
LPL. So this is, you know, true to their namesake. This is what you would expect out of these two teams. But it will all come down to a big 5v5. You see right now, RNG is not actually indexing into their potential 1-3-1. They know with this cannon zooming around the map, your side lanes are actually in threat of being caught out quite easily. So everyone is just looking at that Baron and trying to pull each other out of position where they can go in, get a vision lead, and then come back again and try to find some catches here.
And you can see Gala just walking forward. No, there's no flash, but there's a flash in there from Ming as he tries to just jump straight on top of Shinmo, who was itself without a flash. And that is a quick kill in favor of RNG. Now, with the vision advantage, pings going down on top of the Baron, Cryans should have its flash very, very soon. This could be the big fight. I think BLG got to fight it. They have to go for this.
Yeah, they don't really want to let this one go, and if they win here, there's also a chance that they could pick up the upcoming Dragon Soul. That's step 2, of course. Now they have to go in. They need to find a big ultimate with CLX. He's very, very farmed up compared to anyone else.
Here we go. Stolen!
Oh,
no, it wasn't stolen.
No,
it was not.
no.
I thought it was very, very shortly, but that's a fantastic slicing Melts from Chaos Storm is right on top of a Shout, who has to jump back in on top of the Baron pit to get himself out. Everyone is still alive. Everyone is getting out, but Mountain Soul is on the table. RNG got the Baron, but they need to get themselves back on the Rift, and they need to make sure they cannot let this go.
Okay, so they're burning teleports to get into this fight. Xiaohui is going to come in. Can they actually take it? This is still going to be a 5v4, but with members on RNG trickling inside, how are they even going to get over the wall? It looks like
It's
it
going to
has
be a
to
steal. It has to be a steal. He does get it. He denies it. That's fantastic from Wei. BLG just a little too late to the party, and they get hard denied on all fronts. Now RNG with a Baron up, with all the resources in the world, can start to take towers.
Oh, clutch is... Wei is so damn clutch right here. You know, a lot of us were guessing, was it going to be Xiaolong Bao that was going to start for RNG, or was it going to be Wei coming in from E-Stars? And it looks like they are running Wei for a good reason here. He does not miss smites.
He does not miss, and that is huge for the side of RNG. They now got themselves triple Mountain Drake and potentially a quadra Mountain Soul, which is just so much resistances, helps them so much against the likes of a cannon. And there's the tower dive. Demon is dead. Back to hell with you. And Xiaohu looking like the Doom guy, just taking him down constantly, just making his life an absolute living hell. And RNG, they're really putting themselves into prime position to take this game.
They're already pushing on two sides. They still have a numbers advantage, so they should be able to find a little bit more damage onto these towers. On the meantime, BLG really can't fight without the cannon. They don't really have any tools to find engages outside of maybe Xingmo, but that's still a single target engage, so probably not worthwhile.
Oh, Abel had to flash away. There is the curtain call coming down. As you can see, Shinmo taking a huge chunk of damage. The base has been cracked. Inhibitor in the mid lane is down. Or the inhibitor tower, I should say. And the rest of BLG will pick up the pieces. RNG just want to try and reset, get themselves nice new items with all that gold they just picked up. And honestly, right now, it feels like RNG are in prime position to take this game.
Yeah, RNG with a very beautiful comeback from the mid game. I think the critical part was a lot of how they did the Baron dance. That was so well done on their part. I think they realized that if they're standing in mid lane, it's almost impossible for Demon to find a good angle into their backline. It's very open terrain. You know, nothing is obscured by vision. You have to run headfirst into them. So what they did was they stood mid, and when BLG went to get Drake vision, they just hedged the team apart. Abel had to travel upwards, and they caught out the Thresh. They transitioned that into a beautiful Baron play, and then a great steal by Wei. So all these chains of events is really showing RNG's experience in the team fights. They have been known for a long time as one of the best, if not the best, team fighting teams in the LPL, and a lot of it is about how to get a favorable position.
And Ming has really been on point with this Alistar as well. Again, another fantastic Alistar game from another LPL support, but overall, just able to burn summoners, burn ultimates, get in, find the angles, go 100% in all the time, and make sure that people have to respect the distance they have between you has just been critical to RNG's success in these kind of later game team fights. We're now at 39 minutes. We're coming to 40 minutes overall, and again, this is just something that's just becoming so difficult to deal with. The longer this game goes on, RNG, it feels like the better it kind of helps them out. Oh, teleport on the backside. There it is. It's on the backside of this one, as we can see. He tries to jump in, but that's a great gravity field to just stop everything. Ming will die. Tresh is traded off for support. The Chaos Storm is down. They're trying to find Wei. He is being chased down. He will eventually be dropped. It's a shutdown going over to the side of best 16. It's a 2-for-1 in favor of BLG, but there's nothing really available for them to take. They kind of just have to take that win, go push some more waves, and they get themselves more time.
That's almost a team fight where I would say RNG come out ahead, because RNG didn't expend any summoners, while on the other hand, you had CLX using his flash, Best 16 using his flash, and Demon also having to spend a TP. So if you ask me, is that one kill worth it for those triple sums? I'm thinking RNG actually come out still further ahead in this one.
Honestly, looking at it right now, yes, you get the 2 kills. The gold is practically meaningless at this stage. So many people are finishing up their 6th items. There's no real kind of point of it. And it looked like a great teleport flank. But Crying with a perfect gravity field just stops any kind of forward momentum.
Yeah, that was the critical part in this team fight. Gala and Crying being untouched throughout all of this, and Xiao able to find a pick by himself pretty much meant that this team fight wasn't going to go that poorly for them. Like there was things that you know, I felt like BLG's setup was very good, but unfortunately they didn't hedge RNG enough. They didn't have them all going towards the cannon.
Oh, Cannon getting a hell of a lot of damage onto Xiaohu, and I was just about to say, Xiaohu's kind of praises in the last one was able to keep every single person on the side of BLG who was able to do damage away from the carries just being a nuisance. But with now they're actually able on top of this, BLG looking to try and just take this down. They will be able to get it. So that is the Mountain Soul in favor of BLG. Not as powerful as you'd think it would be, as there's still 3 Mountain Drakes on top of RNG. Demon has Flash, he has Exhaust, but he has no way in on top of this fight. Now, Baron is available. Xiaohu and Wei know there is no way there's any vision whatsoever on this, and this looks like it could be a huge bait from RNG.
Oh, we have seen this so many times before. I remember watching them do this Death Rush against Fnatic, and it worked wonders. Can they pull it off again?
Shinmo. He gets himself caught. He will take a hell of a lot of damage. They will expend 3 ultimates on top of him, or rather 2. Demon, the flash in, and he's going to be able to find so many. They're going to have to use all of their summoners. RNG now fully on the back foot, and Olaf jumps in, but Xiaohu jumps out, and he gets himself killed. Traded off 2-for-1. Wei is dead. Betts is still alive, but I don't think they can fight for this Baron. This is BLG's.
If that person doesn't succeed, and try again. That's the lesson of this team fight right here. Demon, you know, he was denied multiple flanks already this game, but he finds the perfect one when it matters the most. Gets the 4-man as they're coming down the ramp, and BLG are so far ahead in this team fight, in this game right now, with that pushing potential. You know, there's going to be no more side link shenanigans for RNG. It's going to be very hard for Xiao to find a flank into these team fights. And that was just magnificent.
Look at the minimap. Look at Demon coming in here. He knows exactly what he needs to be doing. He goes himself right perfectly onto this nose. Yeah, they just no idea that there's no one there, and he just gets himself such a perfect position. Really nicely done. Xiaohu does try trade back into Shinmo, but you die instantly there, my dude. There's no real trading there. And now the Baron's up. BLG got themselves back into this game. Teleport going to be expended up towards the top side. I think they're just sick and tired of all these towers being up and alive. They want to try and take some structures, Clement.
And this is where BLG's team comp is really going to excel, because when you're sieging towers, the enemy has to come at you through a very narrow choke. There's no room for Xiao to really operate in these teamfight situations. So if they want to, BLG could even try to tower dive if they have their other lanes set up.
They can definitely look for whatever they want. They can play it whichever way they like. As you can see right now, it's a 4-1 kind of split towards the top in the mid lane. They may try and jump onto Demon here, as they know he's by himself. He has got plenty of movement speed, though, with that W, so he's going to be able to get himself pretty damn easily out of there. And that just means that BLG, they're stretching RNG thin. There's nothing really RNG can do until this Baron buff is out.
It's absolutely amazing to think how strong BLG's actual starters are going to be, because this is their B team down to their coach. Coach Kim has not arrived on the scene. It's Coach Hammer right now, and I have to say he's been doing a magnificent job with these guys.
Yeah, hammer time, let's go. As he's just making sure this team just gets every small little bit of advantage, and great calls and great little bits of synergy. I'm really loving seeing this from BLG, and great to see them kind of utilizing it coming into the Demacia Cup. And they've got themselves another 50 seconds or so of this Baron buff. They've got themselves some minions in the mid and the top lane. Yeah,
he took 400 HP off of that combo.
He's able to just burn everyone down, and Ming is just not really in a position to be able to fight this. Demon jumps straight on top of Xiao, who has to go in, but he is dead. That's actually a big ultimate and a big player now out for BLG. They still have Baron buff for another 30 seconds, so they should be able to pick themselves up another inhibitor turret. They have broken the base, but they haven't broken the inhibitor line. That is still available for the side of RNG. But overall, BLG, they are still very, very happy with that Baron play.
Demon give it and Demon take it away. That was quite a large blunder, because BLG were in the perfect position to actually swing their members from the mid lane up and towards the top lane and just collapse on that lane. In that situation, there is no reason they don't have the top lane inhibitor. That should not have happened.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it was a Demon feeling a little bit antsy. Feels like if he killed Xiaohu there, he might have been able to kind of get the game going a little bit quicker. There's no real kind of death threat then onto the back line of your Aphelios or even your Orianna. Overall, though, still very much in favor of BLG. They've got so much in, kind of in the tank for them to be able to move these team fights around. The dragon spawning in about a minute and a half. They've got so many options available to them to really just end this game. It's all on RNG to outplay them like they had in the earlier stages of this setup.
Yeah, I just can't get over missed opportunities. I used to be a coach, so when I see these things, I get really, really sad. But what should have happened is BLG should have taken that top lane inhibitor. They had their minion wave. Orianna was set up right there. Can an easy collapse. You just walk over, you take the top lane inhibitor, and this Elder Dragon would have been free.
Flexing on kids there, Clemens. You're flexing on kids.
I know. The small mistakes, but very, very big impact to game. So Demon is going to do another wrap. I don't think he was spotted.
He was not. There was no vision on this guy right now. He knows there's no vision on him as he's after putting down the sweeper. So right now, he knows at this point, right in this bush, he has absolutely nobody around him. But Xiaohu and Wei, they have a feeling. They know somebody is there. And now he figures out he might have been caught out. Wei does flash away. The slicing maelstrom has been done. Wei almost kills himself by walking too early back in, but Gala finds that one in. They need to get back, though, as BLG are rushing down these inhibitors.
That I believe would still be a win for incoming for BLG. They're going to take 2 inhibitors off of this and still have enough time to go back.
Is it, though? The TPs are coming in onto the Elder Drake. Everyone from the side of BLG is backed away. They're able to turn around and maybe take this Elder. This could be huge, but the game might just straight up end as everyone's just going in. This is a full-on base race as it comes in. They try to go for the Elder, but then they realize the error of their ways as Abel picks himself up an Alistair kill. They try to get the shockwave on top of Gala as he's just kiting as much as he can, but he is dead. There is nothing left for him there. The Elder Drake does eventually fall. You lose 2. The TPs, or the backs are coming in from the side of BLG. What the hell is this game?
Yeah, I felt like if you were doing that teleport, you had to make sure that BLG were truly out of their base. And I think RNG, that's definitely their fault for not chasing BLG away and making sure they were actually going back to base. So very easy turnaround for BLG. They probably had vision set up around that section anyway, and they just pick up the free kills. It's like, oh, you're gonna give me, what was the fight right there? You're gonna give me a 5v3? Sure, I'll turn around and take it, no problem.
This is huge. There's a teleport available for Demon, so he is able to join this team. No problem at all. That Elder Drake is effectively null and void. You now have no inhibitor turrets. There are double super minions coming in every single wave, every 30 seconds. You have to be able to deal with them. Baron is up as well, so they're going to be Baroned up, ready to go. This is a massive win for the side of BLG, and all they did was get 2 kills.
I'm pretty sure RNG just outsmarted themselves.
They played 5D chess with themselves.
Yeah, the idea of the play was correct, but the execution wasn't really there. They needed someone to actually chase off the targets, or at least make a buffer zone, and not let BLG just turn around and wipe the floor with them.
See Wei just trying to steal away as many resources as he possibly can, but he's pretty much on full items right here. He might turn that, you know, stopwatch into something else, but overall, everyone's on 6 items. Gold means nothing. We are 84,000 gold apiece. I don't care about the hundreds now at this stage. As you can see, Gala, normally not a great wave clearing champion, but on 6 items, you can do whatever the fuck you want if you're on Jhin.
I'll pretend I didn't hear anything right there in that statement. Late game Jhin is a mess.
6 in the morning in Europe
the extra
right now,
movement speed
and I'm
you
very
get on
tired.
it. You are forgiven, sir. We are not on an official broadcast whatsoever, so it doesn't matter. Fire away.
No, God, no. I can't do that to the Score Esports. I apologize, but at the end of the day, this game has gone on far, far too long for the side of either of these teams. Someone has to break. Something has to change, and I feel like it's going to be down to Demon or down to Xiaohu to really make something happen.
Yep, there is a ward in base, but they're not actually going for that teleport necessarily. Actually going towards the top lane. Oh, kind of a surprising choice. We did see, oh, maybe that's a blue trinket in base, so that's why the teleport opportunity wasn't available right there. They are going to push in very fast, and with all waves collapsing on the same time, RNG pretty much has to pick an angle and go on the offensive here.
Here we go. Super minions all piling in. Baron buff is there for another minute and a half, so this is not going away anytime soon. The minions are now hitting on top of the Nexus turrets. You got to pick a fight, RNG. They've decided to go in. Ming jumps in straight on top of it. They're trying to get the Chaos Storm down. It's Shinmo who's the first one to fall. They're trying to turn this one back, but the slicing Maelstrom is just too damn big. Demon is able to get himself a triple kill. He's looking for the quadra kill. He's going to try and no, they're going to deny on the penta, but a quadra right at the end means that BLG go 2-0.
Congratulations to BLG. Their B squad actually manages to take down IG and RNG with the majority of their starters. This is an amazing, was very much on mind games.
It's like a roller coaster. It's like, whoa, whoa. It's just looking at all these different things. And at the end of the day, see that little tiny sliver of red? That was the difference at the 50-minute mark that ended up giving BLG the win. I just, you can literally just barely see it. The only reason you can see it is because the background is blue and they were on red sides. So overall, though, now you're looking at BLG. You've gotten 2 of the big players out of the way. You beat IG.